For startups, what is an intuitive design? Answer from a user researcher. Another topic from our startup community in the last weeks was brought up by Philip, who asked, what are the essential factors for an intuitive design which does not need a handbook to use on the first encounter? That's a really good question. Thank you for that. In general, it's not that easy to answer, so I will use the perspective from user research to answer it. The important terms here are usability and user experience. So usability is the ability to achieve the goal. So how can a user interact with the product to achieve the goal, and can he achieve the goal? The user experience is a more broad topic, overspanning the usability and describing the emotions while working on these tasks to get to the goal. So these are very, very important in terms of deciding and talking about the intuitive design of a software. So ask yourself the question, is my product intuitive enough? This is, the basic idea and point to start. But let's try a more formal way to describe it through requirements, for example. So how would a seamless user experience look like? What kind of requirements do I have? At first, it should be self-explanatory, so you don't have to look into any instructions. Second, it should be based on known principles. You don't have to learn new workflows, for example, something like interaction patterns on a mobile device or icons. There should be no need for help or support during the usage of the product, because obviously then it wouldn't be intuitive. The resulting experience in the end should leave no doubts about the current task or subtask or the next step the user should do. So if I'm a user and I'm testing a product or using a product, I should have no doubts while using the product. Or no doubts about the effect of my own behavior. So if I'm interacting with the product, I should already have a clear understanding what does the software do if I interact with the software, so like clicking a button, for example. So from the user research perspective, the following workflow is typical. At first, you have a task or a prototype and you carry out an experiment, so you get valuable results for improving your user interface. And success in this case, if you do such a testing, success in terms of an intuitive design would be a checklist you could do after a testing session. In an ideal world, you would have 3 major points to check. The first would be you have no questions arouse about what to do next. You should have short or at least no considering pauses while using it by the participant, because if you have long considering pauses, it could indicate to some doubts. If you have a very, very precise tracking, you could use some analytics time to have an indicator about how intuitive it is. And obviously, you should have no failed attempts, so no one not being able to achieve the goal. But talking about achieving the goal, how to achieve an intuitive design overall. So what are the basic principles here? One of them is to have a very clean design and a clarity of the design. So be very aware what you use as vocabulary or as icons, so everyone can understand them and there is a clear choice of visual or textual descriptions. Use not too many elements and not too many different functionalities combined in one single view, because it is easy to decide what is next if there are not that many options. And therefore it's important to be precise and focused on your different views in your software. Use a very, very common structure and elements like UI patterns and interfaces the user already know from similar applications. So like if you are on a mobile device, use some of the interaction patterns other software use most commonly in their applications. So like swiping or other very, very basic interactions. And as mentioned before, limited choice, so you have not too much functionality, being able to distract you from your path, or the user from the path to the goal. And a very, very important side note, there are 2 limitations on scoring interface as intuitive. One is the target group. So if you have, for example, a very, very specialized target group and you test the software with another target group, it's most probably not that intuitive because, for example, if they are elderly people, they don't know some of the interaction patterns, could be easily usable for one of the target groups, but not for the other. And it's only valid for the task you checked. So if you checked a certain task, it's not the whole product which is intuitive or you can check as intuitive. So for example, if the registration and the login are straightforward and everyone can use it very, very intuitively, it could be the configure settings is not intuitive. So therefore you have to check many, many paths of your software until you can state it's a very, very intuitive software. Yeah, stated this, hopefully this video helps you to validate the claim we have an intuitive product. Do it with user research, and for getting into the topic and experience the benefits of a user test, we recommend to conduct interviews. So we organize such sessions for startups, mainly in Germany, but in the future for internationals too. So, and many of those participating startups are very, very new to the field. The results are a blast. So if you want to do such a session, I recommend to read my article about how to run these in your community or take part in one of ours. You will find the link in the notes sections. Thanks for participating and to hear about my take on Philip's question, and I wish you a great start on designing your product very, very intuitively. And yeah, tune in for future videos. I'm happy to invite you. Bye.